All right, so now time has come to review arrays, and arrays are super important. In fact, most programmers leave their jobs because they don't get a raise. They don't get a raise? They don't get, okay. All right, that's good. Old programming joke. You can use that at your programming parties, at your nerd parties. Feel free to bring that one up. You don't even have to give me credit. You can say you came up with it. Like, that's not gonna happen. All right, so arrays, right? What was nice about arrays, if you remember, is, well, one thing is like I can have a set of variables in one structure. Okay, so if I needed to keep track of 15 integers, I might have to do int x1 equals whatever, all the way down to int x15. Okay, or conversely, I can make 0 and 14, right? But I have 15 variables floating around. And so one thing I might do is I might say, well, if all these variables are related to each other, why don't I just put them in the same variable and have a bunch of variables together in one structure? And so that's what an array is. An array is a data structure. It's structured data. It's very simple data structure. And so I might say something like int x, and we'll get in the habit of doing this, new int 50, okay? And that's saying I have my integer x equals, it's an array, and it has 15 slots in it, okay? And what that means, let's say I made it 5 so I can draw it and not annoy myself. What does that mean in terms of our arrays? What does that mean in terms of our arrays? Something like this, right? And we have now we have 5 things in memory, and this is memory. It is the same thing. Like, I could draw it like this. I just draw it sideways because it's easier. But it's like the same thing in memory, and this is our memory stack that we've kind of alluded to before. We'll get more into it as the semester goes on. But it's just 5 buckets, right? So an int is 1 bucket, all right? But this is 5 integer buckets. That makes sense. And really, in memory, they're called contiguous. In array, they're contiguous, meaning they're all one right after the other. So, and that has some implications. Actually, we can talk about that in a sec. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Okay, great, right? We have 5 things, and let's say we wanted to put the number 5 into, or 15 into all of them. Why does it matter whether it's 5 or 15? So I could go x sub 0 equals 15, x sub 1 equals 15. And these indices, I should have said this already. So this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know this is review, but it always helps to review. So if I say x sub 0 equals 15, that puts the number 15 in here, right? So this will place 15 right there, right? And this will place 15 in here, right? And we could go all the way down, and we can get 15 in all of these places, okay? Now, that's cool, I guess, but what if we had 100 of these things and we want to put 15 in all of them? Clearly, this is not making our life that much easier at that point. And so that's why we use for loops with arrays, okay? And for loops, that was the thing, that for loops and arrays have an intimate relationship. Think about your most intimate relationship, and for loops and arrays, below that to smithereens, all right? It's way more intimate than anything a human can have. It's sad, actually. In your next life, either be an array or for loop. Okay, so that's a point I'm just trying to make, that if you use a for loop with an array, a for loop lets you kind of treat an array like a single variable, okay? And how does it do that? Well, if I write the for loop out for this, and I'm gonna breeze through it because I think all of you know it. I'm done with that pen. Okay, well, now I'm gonna write it in red. And I equals 0. Where do we begin, right? Where do we end? Less than 5, less than equal to 4, same thing, right? I equals I plus 1. I thought this would be like a way to organize my life, is to put my chords up here. I should say, this guy's not even an adult. Look at how stupidly he put his chords in. Okay. All right. And then we could say something like x. Okay. Notice what's changing here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So it's like we made this the index. Okay. And so that's why you see this pattern over and over again. All right. It's one thing to use this pattern with, but it's another thing to know it. And the pattern is, well, we start at 0 because our array index values start at 0, and we go to 5, less than 5, which is 4, because that's where it ends. And our index is always going to be an integer. We number boxes like integers, right? So if I give you a number of, if I have a number of boxes on the ground here, and I asked you to number them, you would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? They would always be integers. Because they're a discrete amount of boxes, okay? So that's something that should be abundantly clear to you. Now, the reason they're all contiguous in memory is actually pretty smart. I can jump right to one of these boxes, right? So if I wanted to see what's in this third box, this box labeled 3, I could system.out.println x sub 3. And the reason I can jump straight to it is because all our program knows that they're all in a row, all these values, and it knows where the first one is, and it knows what type it is, so how big the box is, okay? And so if I say x sub 3, what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, well, here's the first one, or here's the 0th one, and x sub 3 is 1, 2, 3 down, right? And so it can just jump 3 down and read out that, okay? So that's why they're all contiguous or in a row in memory. All right, let's back to this. So this can be our index value, okay? And we can set that equal to 15. And notice that even if it was 100, all we do was change this. So we could actually change this, and this is why you see x.length, right? And that's a variable that says that this is the length of x, right? And so it'll be 5. This will evaluate to 5 right now, but if I change this to 100, this will suddenly evaluate to 100, and now we'll make all 100 things 15, okay? So very simply, we have created our, we've created a structure that allows us to put 15 in for all the values. There is one more thing I want to do here. And actually, I didn't try it out before, so this might not work. But let's do it. Let's live a little, right? Let's open up a new project for this. Am I in a movie record? Oh, I'm in a movie recording. That's not gonna work. Okay, I'll do it in the next video. I'm glad I didn't do it though, do this thing in processing and then realize it's not being recorded. See you in the next one.